Top 5 Haunted Places in the USA. The Great USA, a land with many amazing places and sights to see, the home of many natural wonders, and where every state has its own identity. But behind the famous landmarks and wonderful sights lies the terrifying and haunting side of the USA. With a history of well-known hauntings, paranormal activity and mysterious disappearances, the US is home to some of the most haunted places in the world. From haunted houses, to haunted forests, to creepy abandoned asylums, to eerily haunted hotels that you wouldn't dare want to spend the night in. Here we list 5 of the most haunted places in America, for you to decide if you would be brave enough to visit these wickedly spooky destinations, and where fear truly lies within. 5. Shanghai Tunnels, Portland, Oregon. When tourists descend upon the downtown area of Portland, Oregon, checking out the shops and going to the restaurants, they are surely unaware of what lies beneath them. Deep beneath the surface lies a maze of 150-year-old tunnels, known as the Shanghai Tunnels. Said to be the most haunted place in the city, it is reported to be a hive of ghostly activity. With a terrifying history attached to these tunnels, it's not hard to see why it spooks people. It was known to be a hotspot of illegal activity all the way back in the 1800s to most recently as 1941, where the tunnels would be used to kidnap and hide people, moving them through the tunnels to be sold into slavery and trafficking. It gained the nickname from the term Shanghaiing, the practice of kidnapping and selling slaves to ships for captains in need of crew, which was a common occurrence in the 1850s. To this day, the tunnels are said to be haunted by the ghosts of its many victims. Visitors have reported to hearing creepy disembodied screams, harrowing groans and eerie whispers traveling the tunnels. Visitors have also reported feeling the overcoming sensation of being anxious, as if someone is standing right behind them, and some even seeing the apparition of spirits lingering in the depths of the tunnels. To experience this creepy location yourself, you can actually book tours if you're brave enough. It's creepy to think such sinister things happened in those tunnels all those years ago. 4. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. From its Gothic-style architecture to its haunting history of strange occurrences and murder, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia is sure to raise the hairs on the back of your neck. The asylum that was operated from 1864 to 1994 is considered one of the most haunted destinations in America. It was a former psychiatric hospital designed as a 250-patient facility, but ended up hosting and cramming near 2,400 suffering patients inside its walls. Due to the excessive overcrowding, it resulted in major overworkload for the staff and caused the conditions of the facilities to deteriorate, with the wallpapers peeling from decay. The windows darkened with grime, all the way to unstable patients being locked in cages in open spaces to contain and free up space for less troublesome patients. Many patients lived and died in these poor conditions, not before having various suffering experimental methods tested on them, such as experimental lobotomies, where one such surgeon created the ice pick method, which consisted of slipping a thin, pointed rod into the patient's eye socket and hammering it to try and reach to certain connective tissue in the brain's prefrontal cortex. This horrifying experiment resulted in a number of deaths. Today, it is said to be a hotspot for the paranormal, with ghosts and spirits haunting its premises that people believe to be the spirits of those once suffering patients who perished in shocking conditions. They say you can feel the presence of the paranormal, and the deeper you explore, you can hear the screams and cries echoing through the halls, that people report to be a spine-tingling experience. The asylum since 2007 has been open for tours and ghost hunts for those who wish to experience a chilling environment for themselves. Number 3. St. Augustine Lighthouse, Florida. Situated on the coast of Florida, where the Tolomato and Matanzas rivers merge into the vast and chilling waters of the Atlantic, stands one of America's most haunted locations. The St. Augustine Lighthouse towers over Anastasia Island at 164 feet tall and has a history plagued of chilling events that gives it its reputation for being so haunted, even being featured on Cypher's Ghost Hunters for its high cases of paranormal activity. Most notably and chillingly, it is said that the ghosts of two young sisters roam the grounds of this lighthouse after tragically falling to their death in the 1800s. Hezekiah Pitty, father of Eliza and Mary Pitty, was hired to renovate the lighthouse. After moving there with his family, one working day, his daughters Eliza and Mary were playing inside one of the carts being used to carry materials back and forth, when tragically, the cart broke, coming loose and falling. They were not able to jump out in time, and the cart slid rapidly into the bay, as both girls fell to a watery death. It is said that you can still hear the laughs and giggles of the girls in the lighthouse. There have been many reports of people saying they've heard running footsteps behind them, and laughing throughout the tower. Whilst past workers have said to have found children's footprints left behind not long after hearing the ghosts of the girls, employees say that whilst touring the lightkeeper's quarters, they have felt the air become cold, and that the figure of a tall man has appeared wandering before them, and then disappearing. Locals and employees often refer to him as the man. His haunting and creepy figure is seen walking the same route up the spiral staircase and looking down on you from above. Most people claim this to be a William Russell, a lighthouse keeper from the 1850s whose spirit still wanders the walls to this day. With such well-documented sightings and a history of hauntings, it's clear to see why St. Augustine Lighthouse, if you're brave enough, is an eerie location to see for yourself. 2. The Devil's Tramping Around, North Carolina. Situated deep within the rolling hills of Chatham County, near Bear Creek, lies a haunting piece of land that has an eerie and sinister presence consuming it. The stories of this haunted land would send a shiver down your spine. Known as the Devil's Tramping Ground, this 40-foot circle of land is completely devoid of life and has been for hundreds of years. Not one tree stands, not one blade of grass grows there, as it is said to be where the presence of evil lies. It is said this haunting piece of land is where the devil often rises to pace the land, as they release evil into the world. It is said they scorch the ground, preventing life from growing there. Many folks say it is telling there is some strange activity and an eerie presence there, as dogs will growl and bark at the area, with nothing in sight, and many will not wander onto the patch of land at all. As they say, animals can sense things that us humans cannot. Locals who have braved the stories and tried to camp there have said they felt an eerie presence around, with many saying they can hear stomping footsteps around the area and encountered strange, creepy shadows lurking in the near distance. Not only this, but it is said if you place any object on the decaying land at night, no matter how heavy, the object will have been aggressively thrown out by the next morning. It is said to be a site for frequent satanic cult activity. The tales of this mysterious land are truly creepy and have many visitors spooked over the years. Would you be brave enough to camp near this haunted land to see for yourself the eerie presence of the devil? 1. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia. The eerie and decaying settings of this visibly haunting location are enough to give you chills. The gloomy high stone walls and crumbling corridors, where many battered cells remain of the Eastern State Penitentiary, was once home to thousands of dangerous criminals. Its 201-year-old history is full of torture, murder, crime and horror, where it is not hard to imagine the spirits of the troubled being left behind to wander these haunting abandoned halls. This prison closed in 1971 and is now considered by many as being one of the most haunted places in America. Some of the horrors that befell the inmates here ranged from the water bath, where inmates were dunked in cold water then hung in the freezing cold until ice formed on them, to the hole, where inmates were thrown into a damp underground cell with no light, no human contact, no toilet and little food and air. Disturbing things happened in this penitentiary, and it is not hard to see why this place creeps people out. It is said by many that these grounds are still haunted by many past residents. Paranormal investigators and visitors alike have said that it is a hotbed for paranormal activity. People have experienced very eerie occurrences in this place, with many of the cell blocks being haunted. The sounds of echoing voices and cackling have been heard traveling through the empty cell blocks, with witnesses seeing shadowy figures dart across the walls and ghostly faces lingering in the shadows. People have often said the sounds of running footsteps following you down the corridors is enough to make you want to run yourself, whilst staff have often said they have seen the sight of a silhouette resembling a guard in one of the towers. Gary Johnson, who helped maintain the crumbling old blocks of the prison, once chillingly stated a force gripped him so tightly he was unable to move, adding there was a horrible energy that exploded around him and the sounds of whispers beckoning to him. TV channels and paranormal investigators have descended on this location for many years, such as Ghost Adventurers, Most Haunted, and Sifis Ghost Hunters. The Eastern State Penitentiary is now open as a haunted attraction, where you can experience these chilling and eerie sights for yourself. But would you be brave enough to step inside this disturbing and haunting location? Now you know 5 of the most haunted places in the USA. But don't be fooled. There are many more creepy and terrifying places in the US and throughout the world, as a matter of fact. But for now, from each of the dark corners around America these haunted places reside in, would you be brave enough to explore any of them? If you ever felt like it, be prepared to be scared. You never know what you might see or what you may come across. Always look over your shoulder, and whatever you do, don't visit these places alone. If you liked this video and want to hear more haunted places, comment below a subject or country, and don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying content. Until next time, remember, fear lies within.